the Windy City Woodwinds mouthpiece. It's 3D printed, hand finished, and all for under $100. Is it any good? Let's find out. Hi, and welcome to the Saxophone Academy. I'm Dr. Wally Wallace, and if you're interested in saxophone masterclasses and product reviews, please do subscribe. We have some very fun topics coming up this fall. Now today we're talking about the Windy City Woodwinds alto saxophone mouthpiece. Now right up front, I will say this is a very good value for money, but there are a couple of caveats that we'll get to, so stay tuned. So like the Sios, this is made on a 3D printer using FDM, which is fusion deposition modeling, obviously. So it takes a filament, melts it into little glops, then adds it layer by layer. And it's the same system you see in your home 3D printers, where you can make a little baby Yoda for about $2.50 worth of material. Keep that in mind for later. Now there are a couple of differences between this and the Sios. This uses a Canadian PLA, or polylactic acid, obviously. And that's a food-safe material that also is very durable and will not oxidize. So if you bring it out in the sun, it's not going to turn a funny color like your hard rubber mouthpiece might. And these are hand-finished. You'll see the lines from the 3D printing, but the table is actually smooth where they sand it down, which means you're going to get a better seal to the reed. And that's a good seal. That's going to affect playability in a rather big way, which we'll talk about more in a future video. But most pros will agree if you're getting a good seal on the mouthpiece, that's going to have benefits to your playing. Now, while it is hand-finished, don't confuse that with a hand-facing applied by a master craftsman. It's different, and we're going to talk more about that coming up. But at this price point, having a hand-finished mouthpiece with a good seal is a good thing to be sure. Now, Windy City Woodwinds offers these in a pretty big variety of colors, including white and black and orange. But being that it's almost Halloween, I think we should call them Ghost, Spider, and Pumpkin Spice. Now, I opted for the blue color, which I'm calling Boo Berry, because I love Halloween. And it's fun. It says, yeah, I'm a professional, but I can let my hair down and have some fun. I don't let my hair down. Now, as for specifications, it's pretty middle of the road. It's got a medium-sized round chamber, a rollover baffle, which does offer plenty of punch, and you'll hear that in the playing samples. And it comes in a decently wide range of tip openings, all the way from 70 to 90 thousandths of an inch in the alto model. I opted for the standard, which is 80 thousandths of an inch, which puts it right between a Meyer 6 and 7, if memory serves. And if I'm wrong, someone will let me in the comments below, I'm quite sure. It's got a medium table length and plays very comfortably. The tip and side rails are intentionally rather thin, which gives it a very quick, zippy response. So how does it sound? Let's take a listen. First thing I noticed was there was plenty of power, punch, and a good deal of brilliance, and that's a good thing. You'd be very comfortable playing this with lead alto in a big band. I paired this with a number 3 reed from the Boston Sax Shop. Felt very good across the registers. Now for me, a good way to test a mouthpiece is how it reacts to low B flat? Can you start with a good full sound and decrescendo without losing the fundamental? And this did that very well. Now, whenever I review a mouthpiece, someone always asks, how's the altissimo? To be honest, that's a really bad reason to pick a mouthpiece. An experienced player can get altissimo out on a garden hose. Yes, a baffle will make it easier, or certain mouthpieces may feel easier or harder, but a good mouthpiece and a good player, altissimo is not really an issue depending on the mouthpiece. It's more of an issue of reed strength. But this feels very comfortable in the altissimo range as well. Overall, it was a very comfortable mouthpiece to play. Lots of power and a very clear, transparent core to the sound, which I like, erring a little bit on the bright side, but very pleasing overall, especially for this price point. Now, if I had to compare this to another mouthpiece, it felt a lot like one of my stock Meyers, specifically my 6M. But it wouldn't be really fair to compare this to a mouthpiece that costs at least 50% more, depending on where you're buying it. But let's do it anyway. Now, just for kicks, because this does punch well above its weight, let's see how it sounds in comparison to my Meyer. I've got two sound samples. See if you can tell which one is this and which one is the Meyer. Let me know in the comments below which is which. They do sound and feel fairly similar, which is a good testament to this little mouthpiece. Second one was the Meyer. Now, I really feel this is a very good mouthpiece for the money, and I say that without equivocation. If your budget is $100, I think this is a great, if not the best, option. You're going to be very pleased. But let's not pretend this is going to play just as good or better than a $300 to $400 mouthpiece made by an expert craftsman. It's not. It's not supposed to. My top-end hand-faced mouthpieces are generally more reed-friendly, meaning when I get a stiffer reed on there, it doesn't feel stuffy, it feels rather warm and Desmond-esque, which is a good thing. This felt a little stuffy if I didn't have the right strength reed on there. Again, for the price, no complaints. Now, I recently had a conversation with a friend of mine that sells very high-end saxophone gear. That's quite expensive. And we both noticed there seems to be a race to the bottom, at least price-wise. And that's okay in many respects because it gets more people enjoying the saxophone. People on a budget can buy a saxophone, a decent mouthpiece, and start playing. And that's great. The problem comes when people start to claim that this $500 Amazon saxophone sounds as good as a Mark VI, or that a $50 mouthpiece is just as good as a $300 hand-faced mouthpiece. Remember, you oftentimes do get what you pay for, and quality does matter when it comes to saxophone gear. That said, this is a really good value, and I'm impressed with it. But also at the same time, don't be afraid to save up for your Holy Grail mouthpiece or your Holy Grail saxophone. It's fun to save for these things and get these kind of cool vintage or expensive products. It's all part of the hobby, and it's a lot of fun. In the meantime, while you're saving up for your Holy Grail mouthpiece, this is a great starting place to get you practicing, and that's the most important thing. So let's talk pros and cons. Pros, they come in fun colors, it's hand finished, it's a great value for money, and it plays very well. It would be an excellent first jazz mouthpiece. Now for the cons, I really don't like the logo on top of the mouthpiece. When I first saw it, I didn't know if it was a bullet or lipstick, or then I realized Windy City is Chicago, so it's probably the Sears Tower, but in 3D printing, it's hard to tell, and the little antenna on top just looks weird to me. Not a deal breaker, not a huge deal. I just prefer it was a WCW or something more simple. Likewise, the side, you can get custom engraving, but if you don't, you get stars. I don't know what the stars mean because they don't relate to the facing, so I thought maybe it's the Syrian flag? Nope, it's the Chicago flag, which isn't a deal breaker. I don't love it, but it'd be much better to get Dr. Wally engraved on the side of your mouthpiece. That's a pro tip. Overall, I'm really impressed, and it shows you really can make a very good 3D mouthpiece for less than $200. Less than $100, which is a good thing. And remember, you can 3D print a baby Yoda, which is super cute, for about $2.50 worth of filament. So I hope 3D mouthpieces don't keep creeping up in price given how cheap 3D printing is going to become in the future. So if you've tried one, let me know what you think of it in the comments below. I will see you next week, and in the meantime, go practice.